The majority of Americans, 53%, approve of the job he's doing. That's a better approval number than he ever reached during his first term in the White House.
Gotcha, bitch.
Opinions vary.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Opinions Varied. It's Opinions with an A. Please like, share, and subscribe. And no matter what they try and do, Donald Trump just keeps winning. Because those numbers you just saw right there, 53% approve, that is what a full court press of negative attention and press and coverage of Donald Trump. Everything he does, they go into a panic, even though it's everything he said he was going to do. It's just bizarre. But that plays into these poll numbers, as we're going to see in a second. We're also going to hear from somebody, an extremely angry, now former Democrat. If you haven't seen this video yet, wait till the end. It's gone pretty viral. It's a man speaking on the street somewhere. I'm not sure where. Maybe Chicago, maybe New York. I'm not sure. And he just absolutely laces into the Democrats. And it just shows how much trouble they are in. So without any further ado, let's go.
We begin today with our first assessment of how President Trump and his policies are doing just 3 weeks into his second term. Our CBS poll finds that a majority of Americans, 53%, approve of the job he's doing. That's a better approval number than he ever reached during his first term in the White House. Joining us with more is our Executive Director of Elections and Surveys, Anthony Salvanto. Good to see you, Anthony. What's driving this?
I will keep it simple, Margaret. He is doing, in the eyes of the public, what he said he would do.
That's it. That's it. And these people like Margaret Brennan, who's hosting the show, still don't get that. He's doing what he said he was going to do. And what he said he was going to do got him elected. So yes, people are going to approve. They are so Trump deranged that, and we're going to see in a minute also a Karoline Leavitt clip where she lays out Trump's tax policy, and we'll get to something in there that is absolutely fantastic as far as I'm concerned. And they'll still find a way, the Democrats, to try to talk against it because they can't help themselves. The TDS is so strong, they can't help themselves. If Trump walked on water, they'd say it's because he doesn't know how to swim. They are so out of their minds that I think they're going to put themselves to extinction if they don't wake up very soon.
In the campaign, there's political value in that. In fact, 70% of people say he's doing what he promised. That's whether they approve of him or not. Now, there's another part of this that continues over from the campaign. There were words that he was described as being tough, being energetic, and he still is today in big majority numbers. So as people take a look in these first few weeks, there's been a lot of activity. They're getting that general sense of governance.
Remember during the campaign, you had Nancy Pelosi and a bunch of other Democrats saying that Donald Trump was, they were trying to compare him age-wise to Joe Biden. And everybody with half a brain and common sense and a shred of objectivity said, absolutely ridiculous. There is no comparison between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. There's no comparison energy-wise to Donald Trump to pretty much anybody. Anybody.
And that's being reflected in these early numbers.
So that's perception. What about the actual policies?
Well, let's start with the ones that are
perception,
popular.
Margaret.
And again,
that's not perception, Margaret. That's reality.
These echo a lot of what we saw in the campaign. The idea of deporting those in the country illegally continues to be popular. We saw that in the campaign. Sending troops to the U.S.-Mexico border. Again, majority in favor. We'd seen that.
And you had people, I've had videos on my channel of CNN panels melting down about troops at the border. Again, they don't get it. They are so far off the pulse of the American public. It's scary.
In the campaign. For his supporters in particular, the focus on ending DEI is popular. We had seen in the campaign, a lot of them thought those processes had gone too far. There are some other things in here that get more mixed reviews. I will add, the idea of the U.S. taking over Gaza is not seen as a good idea.
Something he floated at a press conference.
All right, hold on. So 13% say it's a good idea. 47% say bad idea. You have 40% that say not sure or depends. So you add the 13% and the 40%, you have 53% that aren't totally against what he's saying. And what this man's going to say in a second is going to play into why that is.
Conferences last week.
He did, but it also gives you a little insight into how people are processing Donald Trump and what he does, because then for a lot of his supporters, they say, well, that's not really his goal. That's a negotiating tactic.
Yeah, thank you. It's a negotiating tactic, just like the tariffs are, which we're going to see in a second. And again, the media, we're just out here. I'm just some guy on the internet, on YouTube, right? And all of you out there, I'm sure there's tons of you who know that most of the time when Donald Trump throws an idea like that out, it's a negotiating tactic. It gets a conversation started. It gets a conversation started that nobody ever thought of having. That's all part of it. The whole thing with Gaza, going in there, oh, we're going to make it the Riviera, it's waterfront property. In a way, he's trolling, but in a way, he's saying, whoa, he's got people like this. They go, wait, what? And they say, we can't have that. But you know what they're going to do now? They're going to come to the table to talk. That's the whole point.
And then on tariffs, those are not as popular. Those are things that majority, with the exception of the ones on China.
Why?
People think it will raise prices. And
that is a media scare tactic, and a lot of people still buy into these things sometimes. It's a media scare tactic about raising prices. If it would raise prices, it would be minimal, and the long-term goal would outweigh those temporary price raises by far.
It's important context here, too, because people are still sensitive to price increases. A lot of them report the prices haven't gone down. Remember that Donald Trump won the election on inflation, and that was a big reason. And what we find now is 2/3 of people saying that they don't think the administration is focused enough on lowering prices. And that stands out as one of those big gaps when we talk about initial preferences, initial expectations, and what's getting delivered. That's certainly going to be something.
All right. At the end right there, he's been in office for 3 weeks. You're not going to turn around 4 years of inflation in 3 weeks. Hey guys, if you're still watching, I really appreciate it. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the like button right now. Subscribe. I do one video a day at least. If I don't do one video, it's because of circumstances that were beyond my control and I couldn't get it done. But please like, share, and subscribe and help me grow this channel. I appreciate it. No matter what he does, it's impossible. So ridiculous poll at the end right there. Yeah, the price of eggs is up. That's because of bird flu. The price of everything is still up. Everything. You still can't go out and buy a house, not unless you're paying for, you're buying for cash. You still can't get a car unless you're going to buy for cash because the interest rates is too, there's really right now no end in sight to the interest rates coming down. None. The inventory for houses, it's just not there. Nobody's going to leave a 3% locked in interest rate to go buy another house at 7-8%, unless, like I said, they have a lot of money and they could just buy it for cash and they don't have to worry about interest rates. Same thing with cars, a lot of big ticket items. So we still have a ways to go. You're not going to turn this around in 3 weeks, but it will come. And I think there'll be some pain before it comes. And Donald Trump, you'll see once that happens, if we do go into a quote unquote recession, it'll be ad nauseum, even though on paper we were in a recession for pretty much Joe Biden's entire presidency. And you never heard the word. It was every indicator for recession was there for Joe Biden's presidency. Every former indicator would have been a recession. But it was never harped on by the media. If we go into some type of recession with Donald Trump before things turn around, you're going to see videos of starving children. You're going to see people crying. You'll see people lying on the streets, all the stories of everybody they can find. Just get ready for it if it does happen, okay? Just warning you now. Now let's hear from Karoline Leavitt, the press secretary. She's going to lay out Donald Trump's bold tax plan, and I happen to love it. And we'll get into what I think the Democrats are going to do, which is going to ruin them even more. After they hear it, they'll just find a way to hate it somehow. Let's go.
Glad you brought up taxes. Do you mind holding this so I can bring my receipts? I like to bring the receipts. So these are the tax priorities of the Trump administration that the president has laid out for members in that meeting today. No tax on tips, which is obviously a very public campaign promise that the president made. No tax on seniors' Social Security. No tax on overtime pay. Renewing President Trump's 2017 middle-class tax cuts. Again, these are the president's priorities. Adjusting the SALT cap, eliminate all the special tax breaks for billionaire sports team owners, close the carry.
Right there. Let's hear that again. Let's hear what you said again, right there.
Trump's 2017 middle-class tax cuts. Again, these are the president's priorities. Adjusting the SALT cap, eliminate all the special tax breaks for billionaire sports team owners. Eliminate all the special tax breaks for billionaires sports team owners.
So he's going to do that in order to basically cover the things that he wants to do. The no tax on tips, the no tax on senior citizens, Social Security, anyone collecting Social Security. That's how he's going to, the no tax on overtime. That's how he's going to plan to cover that, by maybe taxing billionaires, sports team owners. I want to see the Democrats now come out against that. because Donald Trump's proposing it. Somehow they're going to think that's a bad idea because Donald Trump is proposing taxing billionaires. We'll see what Bernie Sanders says. I am so interested to see what Bernie Sanders says once this really starts to gain some traction. If Bernie Sanders doesn't vote for a tax bill that has a tax on billionaires, specifically to take away their kind of the privileges that he says he has, that they don't pay their fair share, I want to see Bernie Sanders vote against that. And the rest of the Democrats somehow make that into a bad thing, like they're doing with USAID, which our next clip is going to get into how that's a bad thing, that Donald Trump is finding the corruption, the fraud, and the waste of money that we're spending in USAID and all the other agencies that they're trying to stop him from doing it too. So the Democrats just keep burying themselves because they can't just get to a point and say, you know, that's a good idea. Even though Donald Trump came up with it, it's actually a good idea and we'll work with them on that. The more that they don't do that, the more they're sending themselves into oblivion. They're like I said, they're going to make themselves extinct. They'll be a fringe, wacko, radical party. They're on their way. And the more that and now you're going to have the people like the AOCs and the Squad and all these, they will really become the voice of the party. They are in a way already, but they're kind of like the ones on the peanut butter yelling and blah, 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 and going for the press clippings. But if they continue to go down this road, those are the people that we will be running Democrat policy. And that will put that party into the fringe, because this country is not a socialist country. It is not a communist country. It never will be, because that is not how we were founded. We will not be someplace like England that is going back to their roots right now when it comes to locking people up for free speech and posts on social media. That will not be the United States, because that's not how we are fundamentally founded, and it's just not how, it's not in our culture. We're not built that way. It's not how we're wired.
Close the carried interest tax deduction loophole. Tax cuts for made in America products. This will be the largest tax cut in history for middle-class working Americans. The president is committed to working with Congress to get this done.
So let's see what happens now with the Democrats. Now we're going to here it is. This gentleman absolutely destroys the Democrat Party in about, I don't know, a couple of minutes. I won't really talk during it. I'm just going to let it go, and I'll give you my thoughts at the end. Let's go.
The Democratic Party have lied to us about everything. They've lied about being the party of the middle class. They've lied about being the party of peace. They've lied about being the party that wants to help poor people. Okay? What the last several weeks have proven to us all is that this is a cadre of criminals and losers and spoiled children of affluent parents who were more concerned about looking good than actually doing good. These are people who were more concerned about looking like they were doing something for the American people than actually doing things for the American people. And that's why I'm so angry. Because this party lied to me while stealing my tax dollars. The Democratic Party lied to us all while they brought in millions of illegal immigrants for their own political purposes for the last 4 years. 20 to 30 million illegal aliens brought in. And now we come to USAID being probably the largest money laundering operation in American history. Congratulations, Dems. You've outdone even Bernie Madoff. I'm disgusted beyond words. Disgusted with the waste of money. Disgusted with the waste, with the fraud. With the way that you people use color legitimacy, and the way you use black people as fuels to get us to push whatever agenda you wanted to. The amount of division you used black people to sow upon the American people, you use us for that. And I will never, ever forgive this political party that I've gone through personally. Y'all were supposed to be the party of free speech, the party of women's rights. You have immolated all of those things. And then, as if enough weren't enough, you then decide that you're going to die on the hill of USAID, a government audit. You're trying to prevent a government audit because some of you really are trying to stay out of prison. We see the game now. Y'all been out here telling us that the game was rigged against certain people. Well, now we found out who the people that were rigging the game were. Congratulations. Y'all are never going to win another political race ever again. Not if I can help it.
Well, wow. I mean, geez, blistering, absolutely blistering. Hats off to him. I couldn't do that. I don't think. I sit here on this channel, and that was outstanding, absolutely outstanding. And you wouldn't have heard that 4 years ago. You wouldn't have heard it. The Democrats, the TDS, Donald Trump has ruined them at all just by existing. Just by his mere existence has ruined them. He's ruined the media just by his mere existence. But I should say they've ruined themselves because of him. And it doesn't seem to stop. It doesn't seem to stop. So you guys tell me what you think in the comments. Tell me what you think about that whole thing about the tax for the billionaire sports owners. Tell me if you're surprised by Trump's poll numbers. I'm not. I actually think they're better than that because I don't think they ever poll it actually right. And if he was getting actually fair coverage, his approval rating would probably be in the 70s. If it was fair coverage of what he's doing, his approval rating would probably be in the 70s. But it's over 50%, even with just the negative onslaught. Everything is slanted negative against him all the time. So let me know. I really appreciate you watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time right here at Opinions Vary.